Have you ever wondered why you can't rank up no matter how many games you play? It's frustrating, right? You see other players ball chasing and missing wide open nets, and you're sitting there wondering why they're a higher rank than you. Here's the truth. They have a deeper grasp of the essentials, and if you're tired of being stuck, it's time to fix the one thing that's probably holding you back: your mechanics. Let's get this out of the way. Mechanics are the foundation of everything in Rocket League. If your mechanics are inconsistent or just outright bad, you're not going to climb, period. No amount of game sense or rotation knowledge is going to save you if you can't hit the ball cleanly when it matters. And the frustrating thing is that most players don't even realize that they're focusing on the wrong mechanics. They'll grind flip resets, ceiling shots, air dribbles, when they can't even consistently hit a solid clear. If that sounds like you, it's time for a reality check. You need to stop wasting time on freestyle mechanics and start focusing on the core mechanics that actually win games: ball control, consistency, and basic speed. And you'll notice that these aren't the flashy mechanics you'll see in montages, but trust me, they're the difference between being stuck in low ranks and ranking up faster than you ever thought possible. Let's start with ball control. Ask yourself this: can you dribble the ball in a straight line without losing control of the ball? Can you control your first touch when the ball comes off a wall or bounces in front of the net? If the answer is no, that's your first problem. You don't need to know how to flip reset, but you do need to know how to keep the ball close to your car. Without that, you'll constantly lose possession, give up easy goals, and miss opportunities to score. Spend time in free play just dribbling the ball around the map. Try to change directions, maintain control, and avoid losing it. You can even work on bounce dribbles or popping the ball up for flicks. These small touches will give you way more control over your gameplay. Real quick, if you're serious about improving and ranking up even faster, let me help you get there. I offer one-on-one coaching sessions where we go deep into your gameplay. We'll break down your replays, identify what's holding you back, and create a game plan tailored to your strengths and weaknesses. And whether it's mechanics, positioning, or strategy, I'll help you understand exactly what you need to do to hit that next level. So if you're tired of guessing and ready to take control of your progress, check out the link in the description to book a session with me today. Spots are limited, so don't wait too long. Let's rank you up ASAP. The next thing to look at is consistency. Rocket League isn't about pulling off crazy plays once in a while. It's about being consistent. Can you hit the ball exactly where you want every single time? Can you make a clean aerial touch without whiffing or land on your wheels smoothly after going for a save? If you're all over the place, that's a sign that your mechanics need serious work. One of the best ways to build consistency is through repetition. Load up a training pack with basic shots or aerials and grind them until you can do them in your sleep. And this might sound really boring, but trust me, it's worth it. When you start hitting the ball cleanly every time, your games will feel 10 times easier. Now let's talk about speed. This isn't just about boosting everywhere like a ball chaser. It's about executing plays quickly and efficiently. You need to be able to recover fast, hit the ball with power, and make split-second adjustments. Speed comes from two things: clean mechanics and smart positioning. We'll get to the positioning later, but if you can't recover properly or land after an aerial without wasting time, you're going to get punished by faster opponents. Practice speed flips, recovery mechanics, and quick aerials to improve this area of your game. A huge misconception is that you should play ranked to practice. This is wrong. Ranked is for testing what you've already learned, not for learning in and of itself. If your mechanics are bad, you need to grind them in training first. Use free play, training packs, or custom maps to work on your weaknesses. If you go into a ranked game and start messing up simple touches, you're only reinforcing bad habits. Training is where the real improvement happens. For example, if you're playing a basketball game for your team, you don't try to learn how to dribble the ball in the game. You learn how to do that in training when you're practicing with your team. The same thing applies to Rocket League. And let me be real with you for a second. You're not going to improve overnight. Mechanics take time to build, and it can feel really frustrating when you're not seeing immediate results. But if you stick with it, if you put in the work to master the basics, you'll start noticing your gameplay improve dramatically. Suddenly, you're hitting shots you used to whiff, your touches are cleaner, your plays are faster, and most importantly, you're winning more games and actually ranking up. So now that we have our mechanics dialed in, or at least we know what to work on, now let's move on to the second most important thing that's holding you back: positioning and rotations. If you're the type of player who's always ball chasing, diving into bad challenges, or cutting off your teammates, this is where your rank is getting wrecked. And the problem is, most players don't even realize how bad their positioning is until someone points it out. So consider this your wake-up call. First, let's talk about rotations. If you've ever felt like your games are complete chaos with cars flying all over the place and no one on your team is where they should be, then there's a pretty good chance that you're part of the problem. Rotations are all about keeping a constant flow of pressure on the opponent while minimizing mistakes. In simplest terms, it's about knowing when to push forward, when to fall back, and when to cover for your teammates. Here's a quick breakdown of basic 3v3 rotation. Player 1 is the one attacking the ball. We'll call this guy the first man. Their job is only to challenge the ball or set up a play. Player 2, let's call this player the second man. Their job is supporting the first man. They're in a position to capitalize on a pass or a 50-50 while staying close enough to pressure if the opponent clears it. And player 3, we'll call him the last man. All this player is a safety net. They're hanging back, ready to defend in case things go wrong. Sounds pretty simple, right? Yet so many players either overcommit or refuse to rotate back when it's their turn. If you're the type of person who stays in the opponent's half hoping for a lucky ball to drop right in front of you and just have an open net, you're breaking the rotation. And if you're the one who panics and double commits with a teammate, you're just creating chaos. Fixing this starts with understanding your role at any given moment. Are you the first man, second man, or the last man? Once you know your role, stick to it and trust your teammates to do theirs. They're in the same rank as you for a reason. Now let's move on to positioning. This is where most players in lower and mid-tier ranks absolutely crumble. They either play way too close to the ball, cutting off their teammates, or they sit so far back that they're useless for most of the game. Good positioning is all about being in the right place at the right time, and here's the trick: you don't always need to be near the ball to be effective. For example, if your teammate is going for an aerial, don't position directly underneath them. Instead, position yourself slightly further back where you can either continue the play if they miss or immediately apply pressure if the ball gets cleared. If you're defending, don't rush into the corner where the ball is. Stay near the goal line so you can react to whatever happens next. And these small adjustments will keep you in the play without putting your team at risk. Another huge part of positioning is understanding boost management. Let's be real. How many times have you wasted 100 boost just to get to the ball a little faster, only to completely be out of position when you miss? This is one of the biggest positioning mistakes players make. You don't need to grab every full boost pad on the map. Use the small boost pads scattered everywhere to stay topped up while staying in rotation. The less time you spend chasing boost, the more time you can spend actually contributing to the game and to your team. And here's where higher level positioning really starts to matter: reading the play. Positioning isn't just about where you are right now, it's about where you need to be next. For example, if you see the ball heading toward your teammate in the corner, start moving into a position where you can support them, whether that's at midfield for a pass or on defense in case they lose the challenge. The more you can anticipate what's going to happen, the better your positioning will be. One last thing I'll mention about rotations and positioning: don't forget about your opponents. A lot of players focus so much on their teammates that they forget that the other team even exists. Pay attention to where your opponents are on the field and position yourself to counter their plays. If they're about to take a shot, get in a position to block it. If they're going for a pass, cut it off before it happens. Positioning isn't just about reacting to the ball, it's about staying one step ahead of the other team. At the end of the day, positioning and rotations are what separate good players from great players. It doesn't matter how good your mechanics are if you're always out of position. Learn to rotate properly, manage your boost, and anticipate the play, and you'll instantly become a better teammate and a better player overall. Now that we've covered mechanics and positioning, let's talk about the strategy and decision making. This is the backbone of smart Rocket League gameplay. Instead of just reacting to what's happening, you'll start playing proactively, setting yourself up for better plays and taking control of the match. The first thing to understand about strategy is that every game has a flow. Some games are fast-paced and chaotic, while others are slow and calculated. The key to great decision making is adapting to that flow. If your opponents are playing super aggressively, you need to play more defensively and punish their overcommits. On the other hand, if they're sitting back and waiting for mistakes, you need to control the pace and force them into really awkward situations. Pay attention to how the game feels and adjust your strategy accordingly. A big part of strategy in Rocket League is prioritizing what's most important. For example, let's say you're in the midfield and you see two options: go for the ball to keep pressure or rotate back to cover your net. 9 times out of 10, the better choice is to rotate. Why? Because keeping your goal covered is way more important than taking a risky challenge. The same applies when you're deciding whether to grab boost or stay in the play to support your teammate. You would ask yourself, what's more valuable right now? Boost or pressure? In most cases, staying involved in the play will benefit your team more so than leaving for boost. Another aspect of decision making is choosing the right play for the situation. A lot of players make the mistake of forcing flashy plays when a simple touch would have been more than enough. For example, if you're on defense and the ball is rolling towards your corner, don't panic and try to boom it across the field. Instead, take control of the ball with a soft touch, buy yourself some time, and set up a more intentional clear. Knowing when to go for a flashy play and when to keep it simple is a skill that comes with time and experience, but it's something you should always be mindful of and something you should always be thinking about. Now let's talk about teammate awareness. Good decision making isn't just about what's happening with the ball, it's also about knowing what your teammates are doing. If you see your teammate going for a challenge, don't dive in after them. If they're rotating back, don't cut in front of them. And if they're setting up a pass, be ready to receive it instead of chasing the ball yourself. The better you understand your teammates' intentions, the better decisions you'll make. That brings us to the most critical parts of strategy, which is capitalizing on mistakes. Whether it's a bad touch, a double commit, or a missed aerial, your opponents will make mistakes. And those moments are your golden opportunities. Let's say you see an opponent overcommitting on offense, leaving their net open. Instead of just clearing the ball, look for a controlled touch that sets up a counterattack. Or if an opponent whiffs a save, be ready to follow up and punish them for it. The best players in Rocket League aren't just good at executing their own plays, they're really good because they know when to take advantage of other teams' misplays. The issue is that most players only think about what they're doing right now. But if you want to rank up fast, you need to start planning your next move before the current one is even finished. For example, if you're going up for an aerial, think about where the ball is going to land and where you should position yourself afterward. If you're rotating back, think about how you can position yourself to block the next shot. The more you can anticipate what's coming, the more control you'll have over the game. So let's recap. Great strategy and decision making come down to a few key things. Adapt to the flow of the game, prioritize what's most important, and always think 2 steps ahead. And pay attention to your teammates and capitalize on your opponent's mistakes. And most importantly, keep things simple. Rocket League is a fast-paced game, and the more complicated you make it, the more likely you are to make mistakes. That's all I have for you guys in this video. If you guys like this video, make sure to comment below what kind of videos you guys want to see next. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.